In today's video, we will go over the unboxing and assembly of the Maxima 360 heat press. First, make sure your crate is placed in an open space, where you have access all around the heat press. Tools you will need for the opening process will be a hammer and a crowbar. Using your crowbar, carefully slide it in between the top lid and the side panel and lift up all the nails from the top lid. And go all around until all the nails have been lifted. Once all the nails have been lifted, you should be able to lift and remove the top panel with ease. Now we will do the same to the other panels to allow access to the heat press. Carefully remove the panels and remember to always keep your packaging materials for 60 days just in case you may need them for any reason. After all the panels have been removed, you will notice that there is plastic wrapping holding the loose pieces tight on the heat press. You will first remove the 360 panel by cutting the plastic here. Remove the panels, place them in a safe area. Once the panels have been removed, you will cut the plastic here to remove the platen rotary carousel. Remove the rotary carousel. This piece may be heavy for some, so it is advised to have help. After the large loose pieces have been removed and placed somewhere safe, remove the rest of the packaging materials such as foam and plastic wrapping. Place the foot pedal on the floor. Cut the tape on the platen connecting it to the heating element. Slide the platen out for now. We will attach this in a later step. You may have noticed that there is one visible platen. The rest are stored under the machine. You're going to remove these two panels on the back of the heat press. Using the included tool, remove the four corner screws and remove the panel. After you remove the first panel, you will see the platens are stored there. Remove the platens and then remove the other panel to easily grab the remaining platens. Unwrap the platens and keep them in a safe location. With everything removed from the heat press, we are now ready to start assembly. We'll start by removing all the screws from the gear here. All the screws that are required for the assembly are going to be attached to the threads that they belong to. The first thing we will attach is the rotary system. This is what the platens will sit on. The rotary system will be placed on this gear here. But first we would have to raise this bar. Using a small Allen wrench, loosen the bolt here, then you should be able to raise the bar. Grab the rotary platen and slide it above the gear. Use help for this step, being that the rotary system may be heavy for some. This side will be facing down. Make sure that it is smooth side up. Line up the threads and screw in the bar with the rotary system. Tighten the bolts with the included tool. Tighten the bar that we loosened earlier after the rotary system is screwed in from the bottom. Now we will need to connect the rotary system to the bottom gear. First insert the bolts and hand screw them so that they are in place before tightening with the tool. You will then tighten the bolts with the included tool by using the cross-tightening method so that there is even pressure on the gear. Take note of how the washers are set up. The end of each arm of the rotary platen has an alphabetical letter written on it. This is so you know which part of the shelf and which platen goes where. First remove the bolts on the end, then the bolts at the start of the arm. All the bolts from the rotary system should be removed at this time. Attach the platen with the corresponding ladder. You will place the platen with the curved side in and with the flat end hanging off the arm like this. Line up the bolts and tighten the platen in place. It should look like this. Repeat this process for the other platens. Once all the platens are in place, you will notice that the last platen by the heating element will not fit unless the heating element is raised. We will cover this part in another video. After the platens have been placed, you will take the 360 shelf and place it where the corresponding letters. The flat part of the plate will go under the shelf. There are two letters, one on each side, so make sure that the shelf is being attached correctly. The platen has two screws. Remove them before sliding the shelf in. Once the shelf is in place, you can put the screws back on the platen, attaching the shelf and platen together. And then attach the screws on the end of the shelf where it connects to the heat press. And then attach the screws at the beginning of the shelf so that it is secure on the machine. The last thing to do for the assembly is to flip the control panel. The way to do this is to unscrew the 8 screws holding the panel. Use the included tool to remove the 4 screws on the bottom and the 4 screws on the top. Once you remove all the screws, the screen will now be able to come out easily and you can now flip it to the proper way. Now that the control panel is the correct way, you can now put the screws back to lock the screen in place. Your finished assembly for the Maxima 360 will look like this. That is it for today's video. Thanks for watching.